So we are live. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, my name is Temitope Olodo. I'm a preventive terrorism consultant, author, and president of African Security Forum, and the founder of Trans Custodium Limited. Yes. Thank you and welcome online. If you're watching me right now, you can like this page, you can share this page. Tell your friends I'm live. And I'll be speaking specifically on 7 ways to survive, 7 ways to survive a riot. We know across Africa there have been lots of riots that have happened, and many people who with who you say are innocent have found themselves caught up in this violence and more or less lost their life. And what I'm doing today is actually dealing with that issue. What am I planning to do? What I'm planning to do is give an academic analysis of how to survive a riot. So if you're watching me right now, what I need you to do is like this page, share this page, tell your friends that Temitope is live and I'll be discussing this subject. I'll be quick on it. I've got a PowerPoint on it. And afterwards, if you send me a message, tell me where you're watching from. If you tell me where you're watching from, you'll be getting a free copy of my book called Nigerian Family Emergency Plan. That book more or less talks about the different kind of emergency plan, emergency issues that could confront a family. And if you're a family, or even if you're a single individual, some of those topics that have been addressed in that book would help you. And I'll be giving out that book for free. The other thing is that I want you to ask me questions. I'm not going to be spending quite a long time on this because I just want to more or less just run through it and more or less give you an opportunity to at least put yourself in a situation where you understand exactly what to do when there is a riot or when there is a civil disturbance, which could more or less result in you losing your life or getting injured or even losing your property or losing some of the things that you have on you. Imagine if you're coming out of the bank and there's a riot and more or less you're carrying certain amount of money, maybe your life savings that you're just going to collect, and you lose that money. That is not good. So one of the things we'll be doing is looking into the different kind of challenges associated with riots and dealing with it. So if you're ready, let's roll. I'll be sharing a video now. Page. So, trying to put the video on so you could see just a minute. I'll be putting on the page document on the page so you can see it. Yes, I'll be talking about it now in 1 minute. You could see the video. Where is it? Sorry, I'm trying to find the video, the document. I'm trying to find the document and it's not coming up. So just bear with me. I shall find the document for you, which is a document that I need to bring on now. Oh, excellent. Here we are. I think I've got it now. Where is it? Saw it some few minutes ago. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So where is the video? Okay, I think it's coming up now. Oh God. Now that's not the video. That's not the video I want to share with my people. So let's take that off and put something else in there. Stop sharing that. Okay, I don't know what is happening because that video is up here. The PowerPoint is here. So and it should be sharing the PowerPoint. I don't know why it's not sharing it. But anyway, let me start talking to the PowerPoint. so that you could understand. Okay, the video is here now. I can share the video now. Hallelujah. Now, I'm going to be talking about 7 ways to survive a street riot. And that is important because of some of the things that I'll be talking to you about today. But it's important to understand what actually is a riot, because sometimes people say all kind of things, and actually they might not be a riot, and people have actually given them the name riot like we normally do. But a street riot, in the real sense of it, is a noisy, violent public disorder. Please watch that word, remember that word, public disorder, caused by a group or crowd of persons. So one person can cause a riot. One person could cause a disturbance. One person could be a terrorist. One person could cause nuisance, but one person cannot cause a riot. So it has to be a group of people, a crowd of people protesting against another group or a government policy on the street. So it has to be on the street. So when you have an argument with your girlfriend in your house, that is not a riot. When you decide to exchange blows on the street, that is just public nuisance. So that is completely different. Now, a disturbance, it's also a disturbance in the public of the public peace. So being a special constable in Kent, I remember that we used to arrest people who become disorderly, and we arrest them for breaching public peace. So remember, 3 or more persons acting together in a destructive manner are carrying it out for a private purpose. So a street riot can also be defined as a form of civil disobedience. So remember those words: civil disobedience, public disorder, public space. Those words are quite important in order for you to really understand what we are talking about. So now, when you are talking about the concept of riot, you need to understand that there are certain things that you need to understand, because we're going to talk about the 7 ways to avoid survive a riot. And for you to understand how to survive a riot, you need to understand the characteristics of a riot. So when people gather and they have government permits to demonstrate, you can even go there and dance, and you see even policemen dancing with those people, because that is a protest. They're protesting against the government, the policy, and they're doing it in a civil way. So some of the characteristics of a riot is that there are elements of violence in a public space. So in a public space, you see elements of violence. So it's not just about people just shouting and screaming, but some elements of violence is there, that people will start having fear. People will start shutting their shops. People will start locking up their cars, locking up their houses, because their doors, because they could sense that trouble is in the horizon. Something is about to explode. So what we're saying here is there must be some elements of violence in the public space, and it must involve about 3 or more people. One person cannot cause the violence. So those are the characteristics you need to look out for. Of course, one person could raise an issue, and then other people could join, the crowd could join them, and then riot could ensue from there. There could be a riot, and that could happen. So one of the things you need to look out for is if somebody is saying something, that is not, in the public interest, and they are more or less instigating others to say, come and see, look at what is happening here, look at how this person has been dealt with, and people start saying, what is this? What is happening here? What is that? So what you see there in that situation is that you have a violent situation. Now, one of the things you also need to understand also is that when you're talking about characteristics, there are keywords that you find in this kind of situation. There are some keywords that are actually related to rioting. So social disruption, highly emotional. So people involved in rioting are very emotional. They are very, very emotional, highly emotional. They are undirected. So it's just like it's just like a fire that just started going wild. So, and it could be violent, and that is very important. Now, there are differences between rioting. There are differences between rioting and protesting, and that is very important. You need to understand the difference between rioting and protesting, because when you are rioting, it's completely different from when you are rioting, it's completely different from when you are protesting. And what do I mean by that? You see, a riot is an expression. A riot is an expression of dissatisfaction characterized by violence. So people are dissatisfied with something, and they then characterize that dissatisfaction with violence, uh, vandalism, destruction of public and private property deemed unlawful. Now, remember, it is unlawful because it is an expression characterized by violence, an expression characterized by peaceful disapproval and displeasure exhibited in chanting or marching in a public space recognized by law is a protest. So you can see the difference. So even though both of them are unhappy in one situation, the group have gotten police permit, and even if they don't need a police permit, they have gathered and they are doing it peacefully. Even they could get police escort to assist them, and that is the difference between a riot and a protest. Now, there are four types of riot, and this is quite important if you really want to survive. There are riots where it's a community riot. When you call it a commodity riot, what you're talking about is where the object of dissatisfaction, the object is they are targeting properties rather than people. So they look at a particular place, and that's what they are targeting. They could drive the people out of it, and then people that are within the premises, and then burn the place. That is a commodity riot. So they are actually the object of dissatisfaction is a property. A communal riot is completely different. There's violence outbursts in which civilian riots against other groups. So you see one group posting their tent against another and conflicting against the other. That is when the riot ensued, and there's an outburst, and there's exchange of blows, throwing of stones, and all kind of things. So it's a communal clash between two groups, two civilian groups. Political riot, in other words, is when people are against public government policy and treatment by government officials. So we saw what happened in the Arab Spring started with a guy who protested against certain levy, and decided to set himself on fire, and that more or less snowballed, and it went across the Middle East and caused all kind of regime change, as you notice in Egypt and other, even in Libya, extended to Libya, Tunisia. So those are the kind of political riots. Then you have what you call religious riot, and this happens a lot in Nigeria, a country like Nigeria, where the riot is motivated by religious sentiments, news. So things like, there's a beauty pageant that is taking place, and some people are not happy with it because they believe it's against their religion, and then they go out there and start rioting, and then they pick on people that do not look like them or that cannot recite certain, passages of their holy book, and then they start killing them. And that happens a lot in places like Nigeria. Now, I felt it's also important to talk about a crowd. What is a crowd? Because there are different types of crowd. When people gather together, 2 or 3 people gather, they're a crowd. And socialists like Albert, Charles, Clark, and Aaron has actually spoken about the different types of crowd. So we have the casual crowd, you have the conventional crowd, you have the expressive crowd. These are crowds where people express, they come together maybe in a stadium, church meeting, mosque, having a joint event, and people are singing along, dancing. However, that's conventional. Conventional, that's expressive. Conventional is when people gather together, maybe in a workshop, in an event, and things like that. Casual, people meet together, meetings. Acting crowd is different from a protest crowd. So you must understand, in order to survive a protest, you must understand what kind of crowd it is. And we could talk more about that. Now, what is also important is that you must understand the personality of the crowd. So there are professional agitators in a crowd. So you must know the kind of people in the crowd. There are leaders, there are activists, there are bystanders, people just standing there, not getting involved, just watching the show. They will record it on their mobile phone, and the people that are killing and doing all the meaning do not know that somebody is standing by the side, just recording all. They won't get involved, they won't stop it. There are supporting group, people that will just be chanting and saying, yes, let it go, let's burn the whole place down, let's riot, let's do this. But yet, they're just supportive, and they are cautious individuals. People are cautious, looking at the environment, who might just, be watching what is happening just to know what their next move would be. And there are suggestive persons who might be there. There are criminal intent. So we noticed that during the NSAS protest, it became a riot. And when it became a riot, criminal element infiltrated the legal protest and started causing havoc, going to set people free from prisons, going into television stations to burn it down, going to police stations to ransack and try and get weapons. So those are people with criminal element, criminal intent, and they had their own intentions. There are different things that cause riots. A lot of them, it could be government policy, it could be unemployment, it could be poverty, and it could be policing. The style of policing can actually trigger a riot. Government policy, like we saw in Sudan, where there's just a levy on bread and everything explodes. So different things can happen. In the UK, there was a riot because a boy was shot down by police who were following him because he was carrying weapons. But the youths decided to feel that it was racism, and they went out and caused mayhem, burning down shops, looting, and all kind of things. So it can happen just like it will happen in Africa, it can happen in Europe, it can happen anywhere. And we've seen the yellow jacket in Paris, we've seen the umbrella campaign in Japan, so it happens. So what are the 7 ways now you could survive? 7 ways you could survive a street riot. You need to prepare an escape route. Forget about saying, oh, it will never happen. Over my dead body, I will never go where the land is not good, whatever. No, you must think. You must have a kind of a thinking thought about what will happen if there is a riot. How will I escape it? What will I do? So if you think about, this how I will escape, this what I will do. Even when it gets to that point, you'll be in a state of mind that you will not be blank, and you will be able to save yourself from being harmed or being injured. You need to stay calm. Now, if you've not thought about a riot or a demonstration taking place, then you can't be calm in the face of a riot because you've never thought of it, so your mind have not processed it, and you won't be able to blend into the situation. I can tell you, for example, when I travel to Africa or to any country, when I'm in an hotel, I don't go above 2nd floor. Not because of anything, but my thought is this is a country where if there's a fire or there's a terrorist attack, their response rate is very low. So I need to be thinking about how I could save myself. I know I can jump from a second-story building and just get a little bit injured, but I can't jump from a seven-floor building, and I won't even know where to start from. So whenever I'm going into a hotel, I make sure I don't go beyond the second floor. There are advantage and disadvantage to it because people might try to climb into, but it depends on the security of the place and if they have appropriate security. Those are things that you need to take on board. When I go to a hotel, those are the things I think about in Africa. And that is when you have a risk assessment. You've done a risk assessment of where you're going to, who you're going to see. You also need to keep your loved ones close to yourself and drive carefully. So if you see a riot happen, if you could turn around and return back to where you're coming from, don't say you want to drive through it. No, don't do that. Try and blend. Try and just measure left, blend, and try and find an escape route. Always have a journey plan, a journey security plan. It's important. Move with the crowd until you could find an opportunity to escape. If you got caught into unknowingly in a crowd, move with the crowd. Don't over-identify with the crowd. Move with the crowd and try and find an opportunity to escape. So if you see a house that the door is open and people are there, or the people in the house have actually come out to come and watch, those are the bystanders, you could easily just blend with them and stay with them and look at somebody there and say, please, I'm a foreigner here, I don't know this area, and I want to try and escape. Avoid riot control weapons. So that is self-explanatory. Don't try and be an hero. Don't try and be an hero and say, oh, they are coming. Oh, what are you people doing? Don't do that. That's not your business. Leave that to the police. Leave that to the enforcement team to deal with. Don't try and be an hero and get involved and try and appease people who are highly emotional, as I mentioned before, highly emotional, and they can do anything at any time. Also, don't get involved. Don't be a hero. Don't get involved. Avoid getting pinned in. Don't get pinned into this crowd. Because once you get pinned into it, and when the enforcement team are packing people, they will pack you. And then it will be difficult for you to explain, how, try and get yourself out of that mess. Even before you get yourself out of it, you're already, detained and it's on your record. Also, get indoors as quickly as you could. Stay informed. Keep yourself informed. Send messages through social media so your family and loved ones could know you are safe. Have additional precautions for high-risk area. There are certain areas that are high-risk area that riot could happen. There are certain areas you go to that riots will never happen. There are certain areas that you go to that riots will happen, because they are prone to riot. And it's important that if you follow these seven, or eight, ways, you can avoid and survive a street riot. If you have a risk assessment, you've planned it, I would say if you know that a place is dangerous, do not even go there. Pick the time you go there. Are you going there in the daytime? Are you going there at night? That is also very, very important. Now, my name is Temitope Olodo. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the president of African Security Forum and CEO of Transcustodium. That is my email address. And if you're watching me right now, you could get a copy of my book. It's a limited edition, which I'm giving out to people watching me right now, called Nigerian Family Emergency Plan: What You Need to Know About Family Security in Nigeria. It's applicable anywhere in Africa. It talks about how to deal with riot, how to deal with violence in a public space, how to avoid attacks in airports, all kind of informations, how to avoid chemical attacks. All those informations are there in that book. And if you send me an email, you will get a free copy of this. And this is only available for the first 100 people to send me an email. So if you are among the first 100 people to send me an email within the next 48 hours to that email address, you would definitely get that book. So now let's go back to, and now I know you're watching me right now. If you're watching me, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. Let me know where you're watching from. Thank you so much, Mr. John, for watching. And like I said, there's so many, you know, so many. You get a free copy, definitely, Mr. John. I will send you a free copy. You are one of our regular viewers, and I really, really appreciate you. If you're watching me right now, you could like this page, you can share this page, and if you want to get a copy of the page, just like Mr. John, all you need to do is send me an email, visit my website. We do a lot of things. I do a lot of things. I'm a risk analyst, I'm a security analyst. I do company profiling. If your company wants to go into Africa and you need advice, I do all those kind of things. Look, do all those kind of analysis, to help your company so that your company do not get into trouble wherever you go to. Dr. John, apology, Dr. John, Dr. John. So, like I said, it's important for you to keep safe. We know across Africa, a lot of things are happening across Africa, and it's very, very important that we keep ourselves safe. So if you're watching me right now, the discussion is about 7 ways to survive a street riot. And uh, I'll be coming live again in the next 5 to 10 minutes, where I'll be talking about, how to deal with family quarrels. As you could know, all over the world, the discussion is about, the royal family in the UK and the crisis that is going on. And we know that the royal palace have released released a statement saying that they are saddened by the ongoing situation with Meghan and uh, Prince Williams, and their little boy and the little girl that is on the waiting. We're praying for them, safe delivery. Pray for the mindset, the mental health of the lady in question, the wife of the prince, who has complained about her well-being. And so we're going to look at family flow from an African perspective and say, okay, how do we deal with it from an African perspective? Maybe there's an European way of dealing with it, but there's an African way of dealing with it. Do we also have this kind of challenges, or are we critical to say that it doesn't happen, with us? So, uh, the rich also cry. That's true, So the rich cry, the poor cry. But we're going to be looking at those issues and addressing those issues. So I'll be coming back to you again, in the next few minutes. So if you're watching us, you could, come back online. You're going to get the alert. Come back online. You could watch us on Facebook, YouTube, and on LinkedIn. Also, you could watch us. Thank you so much for watching, and let us know where you are watching from, anywhere you're watching from. If you're watching us on Twitter, if you're watching us on YouTube, watching us on Facebook, because it's being broadcast on those three channels collectively, live. So thank you so much. My name again is Temitope Olodo. I'm a preventive terrorism consultant, author, and president of African Security Forum, and the CEO of Trans Custodian. You can see my email and website strolling down. So until we meet again, thank you so much. You could watch this video again. You could request, if you're watching me, for a copy of the book Family Emergency, Nigerian Family Emergency Plan, and you will get a copy. That's my email. You have to request for a copy within 48 hours, and the first 100 people that request for that book will be getting it. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate you. And please share this video, share it to your loved ones, let them know, because it's important that we all stay safe and we all, keep, ourselves and our family safe. So until we meet again, I'm your son, Temitope Olodo, signing out and saying thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you.